Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps today. I got some juice for you. I got a juicy one, and I am excited to break it all down with you. So today we're going to be reading an article from Dan Wooten. It's in the Daily Mail, and it is good. I really enjoyed reading it. I'm going to read it with you guys. We're going to talk our way through it, and while we do, we're going to be looking at photos from their Fiji trip. You're like, Jen, why are you showing us photos from their Fiji trip? Oh, just let me tell you. The article actually has to do with their Fiji trip. I've done videos on the Fiji trip just when I was working through. We talked about it, Revenge by Tom Bauer. We also talked about it in Courteous by, what's his name? Valentine Lowe. Sorry, escaped me for a minute. And so we went through it. I am planning to do a So Much Cringe deep dive into Fiji because you guys, so much stuff happened. You know probably about the market visit where she stayed for only a few minutes through a fit because she saw UN women there and they had previously not given her whatever speaking role she wanted, so she was mad at them, so she threw a fit and left. So there's that. We've talked about that, but there's so much more to that trip. So much more. This is the same trip where it's alleged that she said they should be getting paid, right? It was just awful. And even that Valentine Lowe in his book went into how awful Harry was behind the scenes as well. So lots of stuff to get into. So I will be doing a deep dive So Much Cringe video on that. But in the meantime, I'm showing these pictures because this article has to do with a lot to do with this time frame. To me, it's just fascinating to see how awful they were when on royal duties, right? I mean, again, she only did 72 days, 72 engagements, whatever it was. And most of those were like polo matches, things like that. So not exactly hard work. So look at the facial expressions and keep that in your head as we go through. Most of us would kill to go to Fiji. But not these two, not the victims. We got Dan Wooten reporting royal courtiers thought the Sussexes were entitled, lazy, and afraid of hard work. Now Spotify bosses have reached the same conclusion and shown Harry he won't be paid millions simply for being an arrogant prince. Isn't that funny? So again, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Just ask Meghan. Oh no, it's fire. Talk about Archie's nursery thing. But okay, so where have we heard this? Entitled, lazy, rude behavior. Oh, wait, all the time. They keep doing this stuff. And apparently it was very evident on this trip to Fiji. Spotify executive, as you know, my new boyfriend, don't tell Jay, Bill Simmons' damning verdict of Harry and Meghan as effing grifters as the streaming giant pulled the plug on the couple's astronomically disastrous $20 million podcast deal has come as no surprise to anyone working within the British royal family. While the uniquely American team, meaning someone who engages in a small circle swindling, was never used by courtiers during the 3 painful years the Sussexes were officially part of the monarchy. Similar words were as the pair found ways to blame everyone but themselves for their perceived lack of success. Hey, looky there. So you mean like everybody has pointed out they're difficult, terrible, horrible to work with or for, lazy, entitled, all the things we've heard that keep coming up. They can't even be bothered to work hard on this podcast that was paying them. I'm just so disgusted because you guys, I know, work so hard. We all do. We work so hard to try to, make ends meet and to make things happen and to live our lives. And these two are given every opportunity, everything. And they just piss it away and they can't be bothered. Entitled, rude, lazy, delusional, and afraid of hard work were some that popped up between members of the Sussex Survivor Club regularly as H&M looked for spurious reasons to get out of public service commitments that they didn't think benefited them. These two seriously are the most hypocritical people in the whole world. It's something that we all know, but something that it's just every time I hear that, I'm just surprised all over again. She'll tell you over and over in her dumbass word salad speeches about acts of service and kindness and forgiveness, but of course cannot practice any of that. It's the same thing they both do. But as soon as, they're just not feeling it anymore, they're out. They can't be bothered. I've said it before, $20 million is life-changing money. $200,000 would be life-changing money to most of us. I would work 24 hours a day. I would invent a 25th hour a day and work that because that's how bad, you know what I mean? Most of us have the drive for things, and these two just don't. They just expect things to be handed to them while they act like assholes along the way. And we're going to move on, but I just want to go back over this list because it's wonderful. Entitled, rude, lazy, delusional, afraid of hard work. Those are all excellent descriptors, adjectives for these two. Your turn. I need you to comment. What's your favorite one? My favorites would be egotistical, greedy, narcissistic, self-centered, conceited, disgusting, nasty, terrible, dreadful, ghastly, horrid. You name it. I've probably thought it. Comment your favorite below. Okay, so it culminated in the now famous moment in Fiji on a rare royal tour where work was actually required on a daily walkabouts where Meghan suggested she should be compensated financially for such hardship, you guys. It was really hard for Meghan. We just don't understand. I cannot with these two. Oh my God. The nerve to think she wasn't being compensated by, a free trip on a private plane with wardrobe security, you name it, to Fiji. And she had the nerve to be like, oh, we should be being compensated. Oh, okay. Then what would you say your whole life was being? If not compensated by, the taxpayers. I can't believe I'm not getting paid for this. Can you imagine? Again, a guest in somebody else's country. When I went to England for coronation, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make this, I just have to say it. When I went to England for coronation, I was so careful not to be that person. I wasn't loud. I didn't stick my camera in anybody's face. I really thought about, I am a guest in this country. I love this country and I want to come back to this country a lot. So I will never be that asshole. And here she is, supposedly representing the royal family and acting like this. Can you imagine? What if the Queen had said that? She would never. What if Catherine had said that? She would never. What if Sophie, Anne, you name it? They would never because they don't act like entitled assholes. Meghan had long had a reputation as a diva, even a C-list actress in the moderately successful, I would say D-list though, U.S. drama Suits. A director who worked with her on a movie once told me seriously, quote, she was the worst actress I've ever had the displeasure of having to manage, outlining how she made a host of ludicrous and unreasonable budget-busting travel and personal requests. I have a whole playlist about this I would definitely check out, Juiciest Parts of Revenge, where I go into different antics such as this. Of course, Spotify was more than happy to pay for this sort of behavior when they signed Meghan and her hapless husband, I love that, Harry, to such a record deal in 2020. Unproven as broadcasters, the couple's name was enough to help burnish, good word, the company's fledgling podcast business, of which over $1 billion was being invested. And Spotify bent over backwards to make Harry and Meghan happy, capitulating when the couple started to moan about their biggest podcasting success, Joe Rogan. Whoa, I didn't know about that. I need to look into that. So they talk smack about Joe. I mean, I know Joe Rogan. Some people like him, some people don't. Like him, don't like him. I don't care. It's more of just that's Spotify's big deal, right? So I'm surprised Spotify put up with them talking smack about him. But listen, Like them, don't like them. Again, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not even trying to go there. I've never listened to a single episode of his stuff. I can still appreciate, oh my, that guy is super successful. I feel that way about a lot of people that I like and don't like. You can still appreciate their success, but not these two. They don't like anybody that'll put in work for anything or has success that's, not them. But the burning question that I and so many of you seem to have is, why do people keep giving them chances? Why do they bend over backwards for them? Why do they give them podcasts and let them insult who they want? Why do they hand them book deals and whatever else, Netflix deals? I don't understand it. I really don't. I know that their name, whatever gets clicks. Obviously, I'm in the same, whatever situation, but I'm here to talk about all the nonsense. I don't understand why so many people a lot of people see through it, but some of these big companies can't see through it. And they just are like, here's a bunch of millions of dollars. And, you can be an asshole. It's totally fine. Why do people put up with that? Which makes the complete collapse of the Sussex deal after just 12 pitiful episodes of Meghan's awfully woke celebrity moan fest archetypes and a boring Christmas special even more extraordinary. But as any royal courtier could have warned them, whatever Spotify did, it was never going to be enough. Now that's interesting. Never going to be enough. Where have we heard that? Oh, I know. When she joined the royal family and decided she wasn't going to bother to try, instead trying to come up with every horrible thing she could possibly throw at them and looking for reasons for it to fail so she could, go have a moan fest. Which she did on her podcast that she failed out. Wow, full circle, right? Because making podcasts actually requires hard graft, a concept Harry and Meghan are allergic to. Not down the mind's level manual labor, but a regular commitment to researching, planning, recording, and overseeing post-production on episodes of a number of shows in order to build up a loyal following. My God, this is what I've been saying. This is so speaking my language because seriously, welcome to my world. That's exactly what I do. A regular commitment to researching, planning, recording, overseeing post-production, answering comments. Sorry, I'm not trying to go into a moan fest. I love doing this, but I understand the work that goes into it. I understand the commitment. I understand the follow-through it requires. These two don't understand anything. Rogan, for example, works personally on multiple episodes a week of well over an hour ago. But it emerged last year that Meghan wasn't even prepared to interview some of her guests. You guys, this is the part that I love. You guys have left me so many comments about the number of producers that she had, the fact checker that she had, the editors that she had, and now it turns out she wasn't even doing most of the interviews. I believe you guys pointed out you think that she possibly interviewed Serena, Mariah, and I feel like there was another one, but the rest, no, there were other people. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. $20 million. I will never not be shocked by this. It shows you the level of entitlement that we're dealing with here because they just expect that they are worth $20 million or more apparently because they can't even be bothered to do the work. Just think everything they say and do is brilliant, but nobody should question anything, of course, and they should just be handed checks. They can't be bothered to put in any effort whatsoever, and it's so annoying because they are handed checks, and they are given every opportunity that the rest of us would kill for. It just pisses me off, I know it pisses the rest of you off because it's just so annoying. It really is. That's why I just keep going with this because they keep going with this, doing dumb shit like this, having every opportunity just handed to them, and the rest of us are killing ourselves out here for what? Okay, so New Yorker Allison Yarrow, who appeared on the episode To Be or Not to Be about the word bitch, Meghan knows about that, admitted she was interviewed by one of Meghan's many producers, Farah Safarfi, I don't know if I said that right, rather than the Duchess herself. The fact the failure of the deal erupted so publicly suggests it was a total nightmare behind the scenes. Sorry, I got to break again here and say she cannot be bothered to interview somebody for her own podcast. So like Jay pointed out before, she wants the optics of having her name next to somebody important's name, but she doesn't want to put in the work to actually interview or learn something from somebody else because she doesn't believe she can learn something from somebody else. She just wants the clicks. It's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. It just pisses me off so bad. Give me the chance, right? I'll interview every damn one of those people. I'll learn every detail about them. I will show up early and stay late, and you won't hear a peep out of me. Unbelievable. Oh yeah, and unlike this bitch, I'll actually bake banana bread for people. Tell me you heard that story where she allegedly made somebody in the staff stay up late baking like all these loaves of banana bread until she found one that she thought was acceptable so she could take it and pass it off as her own. I think it was in Australia, somewhere like that. It may have been the same tour. Hollywood folk generally stab each other in the back, then release press releases praising the other party for being creatively brilliant and talented. They don't go on the record to attack famed departing colleagues as the equivalent of swindlers. So again, referencing back to, I guess, that Joe Rogan incident, I really want to look into that and see what they're talking about because I truly don't know about this. But yeah, of course, they don't think they can learn from anybody else. They think they're smarter than everybody else, so why wouldn't they attack anybody else, right, if they think they're the greatest? The claim came from Bill Simmons, one of the world's most famous podcasters himself, who also doubles as head of podcast innovation and monetization at Spotify. In other words, the bloke tasked with making Harry and Meghan deal work commercially. Speaking on his own Spotify podcast, he said, "I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The fucking grifters. That's the podcast we should launch with them." Oh, God, I would love it. Let me do that. Let me do that podcast. I'll just call them the effing grifters. I'll lead the podcast. Oh, my God. Let's see here. The craziest thing to me is that Harry couldn't even find it in himself to make one sole podcast episode or series in exchange for his part of the millions being pumped into his bank account. Okay, here's where I'm going to disagree because there is no way in hell that Meghan, who saw this as her podcast, even though she did little to no work on the damn thing, would let Harold do anything else other than guest appear once in a while. And even that, I think, was rare, and he would just pop in really quick. I think she thought of it as her thing, not his, and probably so she could hold the money over him, just a guess. But I get what he's saying, and I get where he's going with this. Let's pretend Meghan wasn't controlling everything. Ha, 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 ha. Then, yeah, why didn't Harry help out more or even make some solo episodes? Something. I'm surprised they didn't just try to pad the numbers or whatever and be like, hey, we put out 15 episodes. No, they don't give a shit. I think it's all about control for her, and I think there's no way she would let him take over even a minute of it because he might get some attention, and it's all eyes on her as evidenced by the episodes themselves. And remember, the bar was set very low in terms of what Spotify was prepared to commission. Could the bloke, who is apparently so sincere in his desire to change the world, I can't even say that without laughing, not have come up with a single idea of content to inspire or entertain the masses? Heck no, that guy can't think of anything. I'm just still stuck on this court appearance where he made a complete ass of himself. So yeah, they probably just don't let him speak because he'll say dumb shit like he did in court. After all, with his little black book overflowing, most interesting folk would, at the very least, be open to his call to appear. But Harry's default setting these days is as Mr. Cantankerous, as we saw loud and clear when he came under cross-examination in his mirror phone hacking case earlier this month, and was unable to produce a scrap of evidence for his costly claims, even though He arrogantly said he'd feel a sense of injustice if the verdict goes against him. You guys, I'm dying over this. Furious Simmons backed that up by adding, "I've got to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try and help him with podcast idea. It's one of my best stories. F them, the grifters." This is my plea to Simmons to please get drunk and tell us that story. I told Jay, go get him drunk and get him to tell us that story. Right? My God, I need to hear that story. What are his podcast ideas? You know what? Let's make this a game. Comment below. What are Harry's podcast ideas? I'd thrown out suggestions before, and I think Jay did too, about like Todger creams and shit like that. But what are his podcast ideas? What do you think Harold of Harold and Fraud would be podcasting about? I'm thinking which color crayon tastes the best. What are your ideas? Why glitter glue tastes better than regular glue? It's more crunchy. My God. What would he podcast about? Okay. Oh my God. This is all catastrophic for Harry and Meghan's woke dream of living an A-list Californian lifestyle like Oprah Winfrey or Ellen DeGeneres, without any of the toil that both those ladies put in 5 days a week to build their fortune. That's exactly it. They just expect it to be handed to them, and they're confused when it's not. And even in this case, where it basically was handed to them with very little expectation in return, it sounds like, they still couldn't deliver. Hollywood was open to the Duke and Duchess of Delusion, somewhat taken with the idea of a man prepared to walk away from his birthright for a life of immense privilege in order to set up a new start for his family away from those ghastly royals and vile British tabloid media. You mean like his family and the people they still try to get stories out to? Okay. But Harry failed to understand that he was not simply going to be paid tens of millions of dollars because he was a prince. That goes against the entire principle of the American dream. He failed spectacularly. Netflix is now considering ending its deals with the Sussexes too. Yes, please. We will pop some popcorn and have a party and join Netflix again, right? So while there'll always be a company stupid enough to flush millions down the loo for the initial PR of being connected to a deal with Harry and Meghan, the opportunity to make an impact as a game-changing content creator working with streaming giants who could bring them an audience of billions across the globe has now been dashed. It's a cautionary tale of why spoiled royals will always struggle to cut it in the real world. It's a cautionary tale of how a couple of assholes can't go on TV and make up a bunch of lies about people and not expect to be called out. It's a cautionary tale of not just throwing around the term racist for no reason. It's a cautionary tale of not being an entitled, spoiled a-hole. So many cautionary tales, so many things to learn from these two. See, I didn't think there was anything we could learn from them, but yeah, it turns out there's a ton. Don't be a liar. Oh my God, you guys, that was an excellent article. I really enjoyed that one. So much to go on about with these two, so much to discuss. I just get stuck on that $20 million. They were given $20 million and they couldn't even be bothered to do the work. Just unbelievable. Just think about that. It's like you find a winning lottery ticket on the ground, but it's just too hard to lean over and pick it up. I just can't be bothered. So I'm just going to leave it there. It makes no sense. I know. It makes no sense at all. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. I just want you to know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly do. I mean, it's really kind of blown my mind how much all of a sudden the channel is really, it's just grown so much, and you guys are sharing my videos. Thank you so much for that. I know you've been sharing them on Twitter. You've been sharing them on, we've been talking about sharing them on the Reddit. If you're a St. Meghan Markle person, please, if you post, share my videos. I don't have posting privileges yet, but share my video. Just put the channel name in the title. I appreciate that so much. I'm just trying to get these to get big and, help other people find the channel. But I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Check out the merch. We got Make It Make Sense. We got Recollections May Vary. Check out Patreon. We have so much going on over there. We do deep dives. Got content coming out about every other day. So check that out. Lots of stuff coming out over there as well. Speaking of Patreon, definitely check that out. I have so many new executive producers. Check it out on patreon.com /Real Housewives Recaps, because that's where you can also become an executive producer, where I'll say your name at the end of a video like this. So we have a lot of new ones today. I'm thrilled about that. So let me go ahead and shout you guys out. Huge thank you to Linda. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you to Paige. Huge thank you to Teresa. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Aaron and Frank. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ann M. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ann H. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Glynis. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Adair Becker. Thank you to Erica. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Barb G. Thank you to Diana. Thank you, Allison B. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Lori. Thank you to Pauline. Thank you to KT. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Stromboli. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Loie. Thank you, Lucy H. Thank you to Georgia. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Robbins Landing. Thank you to Helen. Thank you to Mara. Thank you, Ashley C. Thank you to Molly. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sand Squid. Thank you to Rach. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Dombey. Thank you, Android P. Thank you to Sheena. Thank you, Aaron M. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Spectrum Mom. Thank you, Vanessa B. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Mimi Heathcote. Thank you, Misty. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you to Bree. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you to Elvis Rose here on YouTube. Thank you to Lori. Thank you, Tim B. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Kathy with a C. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you to Patricia. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Ridley. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jill. Well, I so appreciate you all. Thank you if you are on the Patreon. Thank you if you're an executive producer. And hey, if you're not, definitely check it out. We have a lot of fun over there. Guys, I hope you have the best day, and I will talk to you again soon. Can't wait to bring you another video like this. Take care. Bye-bye.